8 of the strangest cars ever designed. Automakers are always coming up with new designs and concepts. Though at first some designs may seem strange, it's the test of time that eventually determines if they become the accepted new norm or remain too strange. For the following 10 vehicles, designers either packed too many concepts into one car, conceived vehicles that were ahead of their time, or simply fashioned too ugly a car. Ever spot an unusual looking car on the road? Or perhaps you are the proud owner of a more bespoke type of car than the usual run-of-the-mill models. Whether you're the driver or a fortunate observer, spotting unusual cars driving by can make us smile and brighten up our days. Join us on a journey as we scour the globe to find the top 10 strangest looking cars ever, gazing in wonder at the fantastical design concepts that have actually made it onto the road. Here are the 10 strangest looking cars ever. The Peel P50 is a three-wheeled microcar that's officially listed as the smallest production car ever created. When it was around 1960–1965, this minuscule automobile went for around $2,200 US. Only 50 Peel P50s were ever made, and only 27 are known to still be in existence. If you were interested in owning one of these now, you'd be hard-pressed to find an original model. They've become quite the collector's edition over the years. In fact, in 2016, a Peel P50 sold for $176,000 US at an auction in Florida. Not too shabby for a car that would lose to a cheetah in a road race. The original manufacturers, Peel Engineering Limited, decided to resurrect the car in 2010. It was marketed alongside the Peel's cousin, the Trident. While the Trident and Peel P50 look the same, there are a few mechanical differences between the two, one of them being the Trident's fully functioning reverse gear, if you're into that kind of thing. Peel Engineering continues to manufacture the Peel P50 today in Great Britain. And just like in the 60s, it comes in 5 different colors and has a fiberglass monocoque chassis that makes the car light, yet tough. So, if you ever find yourself on the other side of the pond and in need of a ride, the Peel P50 is as viable an option as any. Unless you plan on getting more than one bag of groceries. Then you're screwed. Peel P50. The Peel P50 is a three-wheeled microcar that's officially listed as the smallest production car ever created. When it was around 1960–1965, this minuscule automobile went for around $2,200 US. Only 50 Peel P50s were ever made, and only 27 are known to still be in existence. If you were interested in owning one of these now, you'd be hard-pressed to find an original model. They've become quite the collector's edition over the years. In fact, in 2016, a Peel P50 sold for $176,000 US at an auction in Florida. Not too shabby for a car that would lose to a cheetah in a road race. The original manufacturers, Peel Engineering Limited, decided to resurrect the car in 2010. It was marketed alongside the Peel's cousin, the Trident. While the Trident and Peel P50 look the same, there are a few mechanical differences between the two, one of them being the Trident's fully functioning reverse gear, if you're into that kind of thing. Peel Engineering continues to manufacture the Peel P50 today in Great Britain. And just like in the 60s, it comes in 5 different colors and has a fiberglass monocoque chassis that makes the car light, yet tough. The Peel P50 is a world record breaker. It is listed in the 2010 Guinness Book of World Records as the smallest production car ever made. So, if you ever find yourself on the other side of the pond and in need of a ride, the Peel P50 is as viable an option as any. Unless you plan on getting more than one bag of groceries. Then you're screwed. General Motors Firebird. Well, hold on, it doesn't actually fly, it's just pretending to. This is the General Motors Firebird I concept from 1954, the first working gas turbine car in the US. Although it wasn't called the I when it was first built, because they hadn't built the second one yet. Actually, it was initially called the Firebird XP21, part of GM's experimental portfolio. The Firebird concept was initiated by GM's legendary head of styling, Harley J. Earl, who defined an era with his iconic designs and invented the notion of the concept car as a tech and design showcase. The fiberglass reinforced plastic body was designed by Earl, complete with needle, nose, delta wings, tail fin and plastic bubble over the cockpit, all finessed in the wind tunnel. Of course, the Firebird project was really the baby of mad scientist Emmett Conklin, who worked for General Motors on the scheme to develop a working experimental gas turbine car. He'd been at GM since the 20s, first as a mechanic and then a test driver at the company's proving ground. With the conclusion of World War II, there was obviously a keen interest in the automotive industry to see whether any of the newly developed technology for fighter planes would translate to the road. Add to that a fascination among the general public for the jet age. Developing a car like the Firebird seemed good PR if nothing else. Was it successful? Well, you could argue either way. Did it contribute to long-term technical development? Not really. Did it look kind of cool? Yes. There were 4 Firebirds designed and built over the years. Some of their more unusual features were their bubble-topped canopies, the tail fins and short wings, and the steering being controlled by a joystick positioned between the 2 seats. This was supposed to give the car a futuristic feel and simulate the experience of flying a plane. Norman Timbs, special mechanical engineer Norman E. Timbs, created this dramatic streamliner in the 1940s. Timbs' resume already included work on Indianapolis winners, such as the famous Blue Crown Specials. It took him over 2 years to complete the car at a cost of $10,000. The body was created in aluminum by Emil Diet at a cost of $8,000. Timbs was influenced by the Auto Union Type C and Mercedes-Benz W25 Avis streamlined GP racers from the 1930s. His shape is a close approximation to these cars, the GP cars of their day. The smooth shape is long, low and sports an underbelly pan. A one-piece rear panel opens to reveal the entire rear end of the chassis. The car was discovered in the desert pretty much intact in 2002. It was restored by Dave Krause. Sadly, in 2018, the car was destroyed in the California fire labeled the Camp Fire. 2018 is the most destructive wildfire season on record in California. The Norman Timbs project began with several comprehensive drawings of the chassis, followed by a quarter-scale clay model of several potential ideas. These were followed by a wooden model that incorporated several of the more pleasing design elements. The design of the car was influenced by several pre-World War II race cars, such as the Auto Union Type C and the Mercedes-Benz W25 Avis Grand Prix cars. It employed the aerodynamic designs and principles of the GP cars, having long flowing lines and low height. However, the Norman Timbs Special was built for the road, and not the track. By the mid-1950s, the car had been painted white and was in the care of Air Force officer Jim Davis of Manhattan Beach, California. DMC DeLorean, famous for its appearance as a time machine in the Back to the Future films, the DMC DeLorean is indeed a real car. This sleek sports car was originally manufactured by the DeLorean Motor Company between 1981 and 1983. The car stood out from others on the market due to its gullwing doors, which opened upwards and outwards, instead of the same way as a normal car door. Whilst this feature looks cool, it would not be particularly practical when squeezing into a small space in a supermarket car park. Unfortunately, the car did not live up to its spectacular looks and steep price tag, with disappointment being felt over its lack of power and performance. Production was brought to a halt in early 1983. In 2007, there were thought to be about 6,500 DeLoreans still in existence. DeLoreans can reach a speed of up to 150 miles per hour, although who knows what might happen once they hit 88 miles per hour. One DeLorean owner, in 2016, actually got arrested for speeding whilst traveling at 88 miles per hour in his car. Fiat Multipla. The Fiat Multipla was a revolution. Well, it was meant to be. Launched slap bang in the middle of MPV mania, it stacked 2 rows of 3 seats, and therefore seating for 6, in the footprint of a Ford Focus. Tons of room, without actually taking up tons of room. Genius. Fiat forgot just one thing. People are vain. And, people, are a quite important factor to consider when you're making a people carrier. Messing with the typical proportions of a family car while making the windows nice and big for the kids led to an odd shape, one Fiat's designers fully lent into. Let's make this thing look really weird, they must have tittered to themselves, assuming that the buying public would dig, really weird. We all bought chili-infused chocolate by the shedload, after all. The Fiat Multipla Type 186 is an unusual-looking car that is relatively common on UK roads. The Multipla appears to have an unusually wide windscreen. Inside it has 2 rows of 3 seats, instead of the more usual format of having only 2 seats at the front. Inside the Multipla there is ample room for all the family, with the 3 abreast seating allowing for adjustment of the front seats and removal or relocation of the rear seats into a variety of formats. There is also plentiful space for luggage, making this an ideal vehicle for family trips. However, the aesthetics of the Multipla have not proved to be popular with drivers. The design of the Multipla has been displayed at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, during an exhibition entitled, Different Roads, Automobiles for the Next Century, in 1999. It has also won the Top Gear accolades of Car of the Year 2000 and Ugliest Car. 18 years later, the Multipla has still not endeared itself to drivers with its strange appearance, being named by the Sunday Times on a list of the ugliest cars in 2018. 1948 Tasco. One of the Chevrolet Corvette's most popular features traces its roots to an obscure, airplane-like prototype built in 1948. Although the third generation, Vet is widely credited as being the first production car equipped with a T-top roof, the system was inaugurated by Gordon Buerig's one-of-a-kind Tasco prototype and patented in 1951. Born in 1904, Buerig was an accomplished stylist and engineer whose resume included the Auburn 851 Speedster, the coffin-nosed Cord 810 812ths, and several variants of Duesenberg's Model J. Shortly after World War II, he was commissioned by the American sports car company Tasco to create, you'll get no points for guessing this, an American sports car. This strange car looks a little like it has feet rather than wheels. The 1948 Tasco was a post-World War II American sports car, designed by Gordon Buerig. It featured airplane-inspired controls and was the first car in the world to have a T-top roof. When GM used the same design on the 1968 Corvette, Buerig sued them as he owned the patent for this. The name, Tasco, stands for the American Sports Car Company. The strange-looking wheel covers are supposed to provide protection for the wheels from the wind, reducing drag and increasing speed. The prototype Tasco had an eye-watering cost, escalating to a huge $57,000. This meant that this vehicle never actually made it onto the production line in the end. 1955 Chrysler Ghia Streamline X, Gilda. In the 1950s, Chrysler was trying to move away from their reputation for building boxy cars. In response to this, the designer of this vehicle seems to have gained inspiration from a wacky kind of spaceship. It was built at the request of Chrysler executive, Virgil Exner, and was intended to showcase extreme styling and ambitious performance. It debuted at the Salone di Torino in 1955, and later toured around Europe and the US. The car's nickname, Gilda, come from Rita Hayworth's performance in the 1946 film noir classic Gilda. Huge tail fins begin at the front of the car, with its unusually small cockpit placed in a forward position. The body of the car has a two-tone paint scheme with a darker underbelly. Thank you for watching.